Oh, Canelo, you puta.
This, you do it. I just fight.
The Mexican champion Canelo Alvarez has recently dropped a bombshell on the boxing world by rejecting a lucrative offer from Jake Paul. Frank Warren recently shared his first reaction to the highly speculated fight between Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez. While the idea of such a clash is surprising, Warren admitted that it could be a significant event for both American boxing and world boxing. He stated that although Jake Paul's name in this conversation feels out of left field, he still thinks the fight could be very exciting for fans.
I just read about it. That's where I pick up my information.
Are you disappointed in the fight that happened?
Yeah, I'd like to see the fight. It's been a great fight for American boxing, world boxing. Love to see the fight. But, you know, Jake's there, and Canelo, that's a real, I mean, that comes left field, that.
Action comes in the midst of the surprising cancellation of the previously scheduled fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, as the Ring reported the much-anticipated showdown between the two boxing giants has now officially fallen through. The planned Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight is now off. The Ring has learned this announcement came after rumors of a deal between Canelo and Crawford for a September bout, which had generated widespread excitement across the boxing community. Ariel and his panel humorously broke down the potential Canelo versus Jake Paul fight, comparing it to the much-discussed Terence Crawford versus Canelo bout. They all agreed that Jake Paul has absolutely no chance of being competitive with Canelo Alvarez. Ariel pointed out that while a lot of people believe Canelo is simply too big for Crawford, the fight between Canelo and Jake Paul is on a whole different level.
A lot of people think Canelo is just going to be too big for Terence Crawford. If it's a big fight, close fight that a lot of people will watch in May, would it make the?
I'm gonna give you a spoiler.
If you're Turkey and you got this gigantic fight at Allegiant Stadium in September, are you like, man?
That booking such a fight is like a joke, as Jake Paul is nowhere near the caliber of a boxer like Canelo, no matter how much hype surrounds him. Eric made it clear that despite respecting Jake Paul's achievements in boxing, he's not on the same level as Canelo, and there is no possible way Jake could be competitive in the ring with someone of Canelo's.
I'll roll the dice on this one. I like my odds. There ain't no way. There is no chance in hell that Jake Paul is competitive with Canelo Alvarez. It's not possible. I'm sorry.
Go full on Eric here. Go full on Eric. We need the full.
We need the black and white.
Here's the mainstream media.
I respect what Jake Paul has done in a very short time in boxing. He is not a boxer of the caliber of Canelo Alvarez. He will never be a boxer of the caliber of Canelo Alvarez. There is not a chance in hell he's going to be competitive. And Canelo will, after dominating him, will roll. Thank you for finding
the idea, saying that if the fight does happen, it would look like a low-budget black and white film, where Jake Paul wouldn't even have a chance to.
We'll roll on to fight Terence Crawford in the fight that I'm also like. I'll be honest, I don't love Terrence's fight. I don't love Terrence's odds in that fight. I actually have Terrence #1 pound for pound still. I don't love his chances. I just think he's going to be too small ultimately, and Canelo's going to be too big. But he's got a hell of a better chance than Jake Paul does.
Oladipo was quick to call out the rumors of a Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul fight, immediately labeling them as a lie. He acknowledged seeing the tweet and the reactions from respected figures in the sport, suggesting that there are indeed discussions happening behind the scenes.
For that, let's talk Canelo Jake Paul. Now, look, firstly, I'm going to call cap on it straight away. I'm calling cap on it straight away. I saw a tweet about it, and I saw a few people that I know and respect in the sport retweet it and give their opinions and thoughts on it. So, look, there's definitely feelers. I do think Canelo will fight Jake Paul. I do. I think there's far too much money involved, and Canelo will think this is easy money. I'm talking hundreds of millions involved. So I think eventually this fight will happen. I don't think this fight's going to happen in May. I really don't. At this stage of
all Adu's initial skepticism, he believes that the fight between Canelo and Jake Paul will eventually happen, mainly due to the enormous financial incentives involved. He pointed out that with hundreds of millions potentially at stake, Canelo might see it as an easy payday. However, Oladipo has also expressed doubt about the fight taking place in May, especially given the current stage of Canelo's career. He believes the fight may be in the cards, but not in the immediate future. I do think Canelo will fight Jake Paul. I think there's far too much money involved, and Canelo will think this is easy money. I'm talking hundreds of millions involved. So I think eventually this fight will happen. I don't think this fight's going to happen in May. I really don't. I'm at this stage of Canelo's career. Gareth Davies also expressed his skepticism about the potential Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez fight in May, despite the reports circulating. He pointed out that Canelo traditionally has a major fight scheduled in May in Las Vegas, as well as a September date, both being key pay-per-view events. Davies doesn't see how the fight with Jake Paul could fit into Canelo's plans, especially with the possibility of a big matchup against Terence Crawford looming. Yes, I've heard the and seen the reports over unit about Jake Paul and Saul Canelo Alvarez in May. Obviously, there's a May date that Canelo always fulfills in Las Vegas, as well as the September date, traditionally the biggest pay-per-views. I don't see it myself. I don't see him having that fight in the build-up to a fight with Terence Crawford. I don't see Crawford fighting. However, Davies acknowledged that if the involvement of Netflix is in play, as some rumors suggest, the situation might change. Nevertheless, he remains very skeptical about the May fight happening, emphasizing that the timing and circumstances don't seem to align at this stage. Turkey's got Netflix involved, and there's a kind of move going on, and he does seem to work with everyone, and he doesn't. No one's out of the picture with him if he's working with Netflix on this, and Netflix might be showing the Crawford-Canelo fight as well later in the year. I'm presupposing this. Yes, you know that those kind of things work in machination together. But at the moment, I'm very skeptical about Canelo and Jake Paul in May. While everybody is showing doubts about the Canelo versus Jake Paul fight, Eddie Hearn puts the final nail in the coffin by declaring it done. He pointed out that Canelo's potential fight with Jake Paul makes more financial sense as it brings together two massive stars in the boxing world. On the other hand, the Canelo versus Crawford fight, although a true boxing spectacle, lacks the same widespread star power, with Crawford's marketability still falling short. Despite his exceptional skills, Canelo Crawford is one of the great boxing fights that can be made in the modern day. And when you go and fight Jake Paul, it's kind of like, I don't know, and maybe someone's reacted to that news, I don't know, or maybe it just fell through. Hearn also acknowledged that the focus on the Jake Paul fight might have derailed the Canelo-Crawford showdown, with the financial rewards of fighting Jake Paul being too great to ignore. The impact on the Canelo versus Crawford match is undeniable. But it sounds to me that the move to fight Jake Paul has just maybe derailed the other fight. But I don't blame Canelo Alvarez, because financially the bigger fight is Canelo-Jake Paul, because in that fight you got two big stars, in the other fight you got two great fighters and one big star in Terence Crawford, who should be a big star. The reality isn't he's just an unbelievable fighter. He suggested that while Canelo versus Crawford isn't ruled out entirely, the reality is that the Jake Paul fight is already done, and fans should brace for the chaos that follows in his crazy game of money and strategy. Still, listen, everything can change overnight, as you saw, so don't rule out Canelo Crawford. But as I'm hearing, Canelo Jake Paul is done, and I get it, yeah, I'll watch it. Mad, or okay. The authenticity of the situation is validated largely due to Turki Halal Sheikh's recent video, where he hints at the major deal with Canelo Alvarez. Turkey took to social media to announce the deal's confirmation, and fans have been buzzing ever since the video share on X detailed Alvarez's upcoming schedule, including his visits to Riyadh alongside the much-anticipated Las Vegas big fight. Canelo and Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing in September, then two more fight in 26. Don't miss with the line. Halal Sheikh's tweet added weight to the announcement, as he boldly stated 4 fights for Canelo with Riyadh season. The deal is done. His reference to a lion not losing sleep over the opinion of a sheep further emphasized his confidence in the deal, while the phrase "fear the lion, not the jungle" gave the message a striking impact. It was clear that this was not just speculation, but a solid confirmation of the fight's inevitability. Adding to the drama, Terence Crawford also broke his silence, addressing the growing anticipation with confidence. He shared with fans, saying, "I'm waiting on Canelo in September and going to shock the world in Riyadh season," leaving fans even more eager to see what unfolds next. On the contrary, the problem child Jake Paul fired back at the Mexican superstar and said that he turned on the people that made him millions of dollars just for a few extra millions. Paul pointed out that Canelo is fighting a smaller guy like Crawford instead of him, but it was a shady move on Canelo's part, largely due to the fact that he can't do bigger numbers than him. "Oh, Canelo, you pa, and this YouTuber, I just fight real fighters, time to expose them. So we had a signed contract to fight here." You could see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right, claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. __. Look at the poster we were announcing Tuesday, February 11th, claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135 pounds fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benovitz. The truth is, you could be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel. Frank Warren shared his clear preference for the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, dismissing the growing excitement surrounding a potential showdown between Canelo and Jake Paul. While there's no shortage of hype around Paul's involvement in big fights, Warren believes that the real battle fans want to see is Canelo against Crawford. He feels that a match between these two would be far more significant and competitive, representing a true test for both boxers, rather than focusing on a less serious clash. But he said they want to see Jake Paul fight somebody going to be fighting somebody. I want to see the Crawford fight. That's the fight I want to see. On the other hand, Jake Paul, known for his antics outside the ring as much as his performances in it, has continued to fan the flames of this controversy with cryptic messages posted on X. His posts seem to be digs at Canelo Alvarez, further fueling the tension. One tweet clearly hints that he feels in control of the situation, stating, "A source has advised me that my fight is now whatever I want it to be because I'm my source." Another tweet added, "Aside in every fight I've been in, and that's not changing for this one," which strongly suggests that Jake sees himself as the dominant figure in this potential bout, especially when comparing himself to Canelo. These cryptic posts have only added to the controversy, with fans questioning whether Jake Paul truly deserves a shot at someone of Canelo's stature. Showbit is the adult took a humorous jab at Eddie Hearn's comments about the Canelo versus Jake Paul fight, questioning the legitimacy of the fight and the potential consequences on Canelo's future matchups. And Eddie Hearn just said the move to fight Jake Paul is just maybe derailed the other fight, bro. Okay, listen, blame Jake Paul on Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul may have derailed the fight with him versus Craw. And why would that happen all of a sudden? He highlighted how Turkey Alec views these fights more as events rather than legitimate boxing matches, adding a layer of skepticism to the situation. "Well, I know this for His Excellency Turkey Alesic. He doesn't see fights like that as